Hello and welcome to... Oh, I can hear myself in my... I have to take them out. Should be okay now. Oh, give me a second. I could hear myself in my headphones, which is really annoying. I need to fix that. Hello and welcome to the third episode of Performing with Ease and Flow. I have created these power breaks to offer leaders a break to boost their energy, reduce their stress level, and I made these 15 minutes because I'm offering them in the middle of the week, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. So in the middle of the working day, encouraging you to take these 15 minutes out, listen in for some inspiration on reducing stress, because breaks are great for our performance in the long run. And of course you can watch these in replay as well. And I also offer a session on Sundays, also at 11 a.m. Central European time. That's 10 a.m. in the UK and 9 p.m. in Australia and in the middle of the night in the US, but you can watch it in the replay if you're joining from the US. Sundays are more about inspiring for reflection on the small changes you can make to get more energy, which is also part of the topic today. So today is part of a series of a specific topic I've been talking about. I've been talking about how to progress when stress is stealing your energy, your focus, and clarity of where you're heading, or clarity of solutions to the problems that you're facing at work or privately. Could it also be? And in the first episode, which was last Wednesday, I talked about how to let go of thoughts that disturb us, and how to let go of worries, how to let go of your private life when you're at work, and how to let go of your work when you're spending time with your loved ones, and also in general how to let go of worries, because that is one of the biggest factors. Worries about the future, how it's going to be, if it still be like it is today, which is quite scary when you're stressed or even burned out. So letting go of that was the topic from last week. You can go back and watch that one. Just send me a message if you cannot find the replay of it, and I'll guide you through it. Where I also share in that session a method for letting go. I share many methods for that in my programs as well. This is a quite simple exercise that you can incorporate anywhere. You can do it when you walk around. You can do it when you sit at the desk, and that's one of the things that I like to teach, because that's what really makes a difference. That's the small things we do in our daily life. Whereas it's great to do go on a yoga retreat for a whole weekend. Of course, that does something good for you. But when you return to daily life and you're not incorporating any of the techniques that calmed you and gave you more clarity, the effect diminish again. Second episode was this Sunday. I was talking about how to create a structure around your life, because structure can, when you think about it, it can feel restricting. And I had a lot of clients who thought, well, I'm not comfortable putting more structure in my life because that feels so restricting, and I'm really into having more freedom in my life. But as a lot of you, we all instantly know, or maybe you disagree with me, but having some structure around some of the things you do also gives you a lot of freedom. For instance, having structures around how you work means that you are off from work when you're not working, because you made some decisions around, this is what I'm going to be doing this week, and when I'm done with that, I'm off. But also, if I don't finish exactly as I expected, I'm still finding ways to let go of it, or deciding how to deal with the situation that you're behind with some things. So the second session was around creating a structure for your working life, setting when you're stressed, it's really important that you have breaks. And those breaks helps you being more efficient when you work. So my advice was taking, let's say, 45 minutes to a specific task. So you sit down with your calendar and put down the specific tasks you need to get done this week. And I had a more detailed instruction of how you can get to what is it that is really important. So 45 minutes to what task, a specific task that you're working on, and set aside 15 minutes for break, which could be a power break, the technique that I shared in the first session. And you can do the same with it when you plan your meetings. When you're a leader, you also have some responsibility in terms of how your team is doing. So also ensuring that there's room for breaks, because I don't know how it is with you, but I know when I was in corporate life, I had back-to-back meetings. There was not room for anything in between. I had loads of colleagues who didn't even take their lunch break because they just worked so hard. And as you can imagine, they're not thriving, and the clarity was also kind of losing the clarity a bit. And often when we structure our life more, you guys also make room for that creativity that emerges when you're not constantly doing, because you allow your mind to put the pieces together that it puts together when the mind rests. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important to ensure that you're not constantly thinking about work, even also when you're not at work. All right, that was a bit of a recap of the 2 first sessions, and you can go back and watch them. Send me a message if you want a link. Today is about the things that lifts you, the things that gives you energy, the things that makes you happy. So why am I talking about this? This is because that's one of the things that you probably miss the most when you're stressed and even burned out. Because for too long you've been too exhausted to do the things that you really feel like doing. And in my case, it had been years. When I was going through my own burnout back in 2014, that meant I couldn't even remember. When I was asked, so do something, you need to do something that makes you happy. I was like, yes, what? I can't remember anymore. And by the way, I don't have time. And that's the challenge, because you can be in those negative cycles where you constantly work more and more, you work later and later, you take in the evening because you're not productive in the day, you even reach the Friday and decide I have just a few tasks that I'm doing this weekend, work tasks, because I'm kind of behind. And then you miss the opportunity to recharge. And I did that constantly. I was missing so much sleep, and I was missing so many of the recharging moments that I really needed. And in part it was because I didn't have a strategy for what to do. I didn't know what uplifted me. That wasn't really clear for me at that time. And that's what happens when you're in that state of feeling things that starts to become meaningless. You kind of lose the connection to the things that makes you happy. And that connection needs to be reestablished. And of course, that's what I help people with in my programs. So I'll just give you a little tip today, so you can to help yourself move forward a bit with this. And of course, the first thing you need to do is you need to agree with yourself that you do these things. And sometimes it starts with, let's say, looking at your calendar. Today, I'll do this small thing that I know gives me more energy, makes me more happy. Go take a walk by the ocean, take a yoga class, give myself a moment to myself if you have kids. Tell your husband you need it. And it's not always that simple, because often it's been some patterns of not doing these things for a long time, so we can see a lot of barriers for ourselves to do the things that uplifts us, regardless of what it is. And of course, it can be many other things than the ones that I shared. What I did when I went through my own burnout was that I returned to what made me happy as a kid. in my teens. And I don't know if this applies to any of you, but, and the weather is not perfect for that, but you can find ways to do anything, or something that resembles what you really need. I went back to rollerblading, and did that quite a lot in my spare time. I was also home ill with stress, so in the beginning I had more time to do that, and I prioritized that, and it made a huge difference. It returned me to the state you are in your youth, where you feel that you don't have the limitations that you often feel that you have in your adult life, and that made a huge difference for me. So my advice to you today is to schedule something in your calendar that gives you that feeling. And I know it can be difficult to identify it. Remember, it can be really, really small things. It doesn't have to be going on a rollerblading ride. Maybe it's a smell, buying some flowers that reminds you of something good. Doing small things for yourself that uplifts you. And a more long-term approach to this is to sit down and have an overview of your life and the things that you are struggling with. So it can be mentally that you have mind clutter, that you're confused, that you find it difficult to focus. It can be physically, maybe you have some physical issues, imbalances. I was struggling with PCOS, and I've helped a lot of people who struggle with autoimmune diseases, because that's one of that gets much worse when you're dealing with stress. You see a lot of the illnesses that you might be generically disposed to having, and when you're stressed, you see them come up. So when the stress decreases again, you also see the symptoms go away. You can look at your relationships. Are they supporting you? And there are many strategies for dealing with that, but at least knowing what are the different things that are giving you energy and stealing your energy, and getting a overview of that in relation to all the areas of your life: work, sleep, rest, doing things that you enjoy and find funny, that makes you laugh, mentally, physically, emotionally, also things around eating, how dealing with emotions. It's often talked about the ostrich and the lioness. So the ostrich is the woman who goes to the fridge when things get stressful or emotionally difficult, putting the head into the fridge and see if something can fix this problem. And the lioness is strong enough to face the problem, the difficult emotions, the stressful things in our life, instead of running away from them and sticking the head to the ground or into the fridge. So getting an overview of all of those factors: what is draining your energy, what is giving you energy. And what I do with my clients is that I have a whole framework for doing this evaluation, where we look into the different factors of your life and together look at what kind of strategy, what is this would be your personal strategy for moving forward here. What small changes could you make, and what things are getting in your way of doing these things, and to ensure that what we create is something that is sustainable, because that's one of the most painful things, is to do some things about your situation, because that's often what you see with burnout. People go down the hill into burnout and they manage to lift themselves and then down again, because the action they took, either you think that you don't need to do anything anymore, or you just do so much that it overwhelms you and pushes you back again. All right, so that's a really important part of that strategy, is to ensuring that what you do is what really lifts you. Because the women I work with, they have ambitions for their life. They want to progress in their career. They want to have a great career and also enjoy their private life and have time for their family, or establish a family, or do some cool stuff in their spare time as well. Or they also feel that something is off in their life and they want something to change, but not really sure what it is. Maybe it is a career change, maybe it's You could stay in the same company and do something else. Maybe it's completely shift into something else. And you need to get to a certain point on that curve to be able to have that clarity of where you're going. So that's often the next step is to really have clarity of where are you heading, what are your visions, your dreams for your life. And that takes continuous action. It's not enough to just take an extreme action and think you're fine from there. All right, so that was my the power break I wanted to offer you today. Go and identify something that uplifts you, and also, and you can do it in extension of doing that exercise, because then you're at a good state, having a session with yourself where you really look into all the factors that gives you energy and drains you energy, to make sure that you make a strategy that incorporates everything that you need to take action on to really be able to move forward. So don't overlook anything that is draining you, because then you can take so much action in this area. If you're doing a lot of things at work, but your relationship is draining you, maybe you need to take actions in more areas. But as I said, it can be really, really small actions when we really look into it and dig deep into understanding what is going on here. All right, that was it from my side. I just wanted to say, if you struggle moving forward with this on your own, you're of course welcome to reach out to me. I currently offer free clarity calls to help you get clarity of your situation. And if we both agree that there's a match, we can talk about how I can support you with moving forward. But of course only in the case that we both agree that this is the next step for us. All right, that was it for me today. Thank you for joining. Have an awesome day.